Today we're going to talk about the sequel to a Gothic horror deck building game, Colonial Horror. Hello everybody, welcome to another edition of Roll and Move Reviews Expansion Saturday. Today we're going to take a look at Colonial Horror, the expansion for Dark Gothic, the deck building version of Flying Frog's A Touch of Evil game. I did a review for Dark Gothic a while ago, so if you want to see how the game plays, go watch that video, then come back here and we will take a look at all the new additions. What you see here is everything that comes new with the game, or at least examples of it. Obviously, you're going to get a ton of new cards for the main deck. The main deck is much bigger now, with a lot of cards that essentially do the same types of things that the old cards did in the base game. But now there's just more of them and different kinds of them. You also get a lot more Dark Secret cards, things like that. But again, those are just additions to the already existing cards. What you have here are what is really new and added to the game in this expansion. First of all, you get a bunch of new characters, 5 new characters. And if you played A Touch of Evil, these are going to be very familiar to you. Thomas Harbrook, Inspector Cook, Argot Blackwell, Anne Marie, and Sarah the Black Witch. And again, just like in the base game, these characters' abilities and traits here are all very similar to these traits and abilities they have in A Touch of Evil. They're just translated, obviously, for these game mechanics, these deck builder mechanics. You get a cool new Omen die. It's blue this time, and I like this one better. It's the only one I use now. You also get 9 new villains, 3 at each level. 3 level 1 slash from below, the Strigoi Vampire, and the Black Hound of Norfolk. At level 2, it's the Dark Rider of Solemn Grove, the Necromancer, and Gremlin Infestation. And then level 3 is the Weatherstone Gargoyle, the Shadow Witch, and the Fell Reaper. So now we have twice as many villains as we did before. Besides that, those are obviously the biggest additions to the game. There are also some new types of cards for the main deck, and some new card effects. The first of those being these cursed costs here. These obviously here are the costs of the card, and you see normal cost just looks like that. This one here though, you see that red ring, that bloody ring around one of the costs. If the cost has that bloody ring around it, then it's cursed, and that means instead of just discarding the card you spend to buy that, you actually have to destroy it and remove it from the game. Then you have these new cards which are called Protect cards. See, it says here discard to protect. And what you do with the Protect cards, if you're called upon to destroy a card, such as with the cursed cost down there, you can discard this instead and protect that card from being destroyed. So it's a nice combo if you play those both together. Then you have 2 cards that immediately affect the shadows and the main lineup. The first is the Lightning Strike. And the way Lightning Strike works is this. Basically, if you have a lineup of 5 cards and the Lightning Strike is flipped, lineup 6 cards, and the Lightning Strike is flipped into the lineup as a new card. Both cards on either side are destroyed, and the Lightning Strike card goes directly into the shadows. The last new type of card is a really interesting one. These are roaming minions, and you see roaming there. The way these work is when these come out on the board, they roam at the end of every turn. If the roaming minion is not purchased on your turn, it slides down 1 space and continues to do so every turn it's not purchased until it hits the end, falls off the line, and goes into the shadow deck. So now you have 2 ways to make the shadows more of a threat. And that hopefully gives you an idea of all the new things you get for Dark Gothic with the expansion Colonial Horror. Let's start off by talking about a few nuts and bolts things that Colonial Horror has going for it. First of all, this was the only thing that Flying Frog put out in 2015 that wasn't Shadows of Brimstone related. That is very unlike Flying Frog. Usually they have a lot of plates spinning, they're working on all their games at once, and constantly rotating games in and out, bringing out a lot of new things. Not the case last year. They were very much of a one-track mind, but it was nice to get at least one thing that was different from them, even though it was an expansion of a spin-off game. But hey, at this point we'll take what we can get. The second thing is the fact that the box for this game was the perfect size. You can see everything from the base game and the expansion fit in here perfectly. It was obviously designed to do so because everything's just in there right. The box for the base game was way too big. Everything was shifting around in there. And even if you were to add everything from the expansion, it would still be too big and too much extra space. This one, everything fits perfect. They put out another expansion. Probably have to go back to the original box because nothing else is going to fit in here. But very nice new package. And smaller than the original box. Very economical with the space. As far as the game itself, I really like what this game adds. It brings a lot of what I think the game needed to improve the original Dark Gothic. New characters, always nice to have new options, bring a lot of new stuff, and a lot of nice nods there for fans of the original Touch of Evil game, seeing those characters and how they translate into this version of the game. Then you get those 9 new villains, which may be the most crucial thing that this new expansion brings to the game. You double the number of villains you have. If you watched my review of Dark Gothic, you know one of my big problems with the game was that there weren't enough villains, and I think after a while it became predictable with just a few villains that you had. Now we have twice as many, going to be a lot less predictable, and you're going to have a lot more different combinations. The other new additions that I really enjoyed and that I think add a whole lot to the game are the Lightning Strike and Roaming cards. These cards actually make the Shadow deck a threat now. Again, I talked about in my original review that the Shadow deck in the base game wasn't really much of a threat, and therefore the game wasn't as semi-cooperative as it was sold to be. With those Lightning Strikes and the Roaming cards, now you're going to see the Shadow deck filling up a lot quicker. I've actually had a game with the expansion, and with the Shadow deck being filled and everyone losing, which I never really saw the threat of in the base game. So that semi-co-op feel is really going to come through a lot stronger if you're playing with Colonial Horror. Overall, this is an expansion I really enjoy. It is a standalone. You can play it with 2 to 3 players just by itself, but I really think you should add it to the base game. I think that's the best use for it. If you are a fan of Dark Gothic and you own that game, I think this is a mandatory expansion. Colonial Horror. Okay, everybody, thanks so much for watching this edition of Expansion Saturday on Roll and Move Reviews. Please leave me comments, let me know what you thought. Tell me what you think about Dark Gothic and Colonial Horror. While you're at it, if you enjoyed the video, click the like button, subscribe to our channel, follow us on Twitter, and like our Facebook page. After you've done all that, go ahead and visit our sponsor website, alteregogames.net. Great game website with a lot of great deals on a lot of the great games that you want to buy and that you want to play. You can always watch some of our older videos on YouTube, Facebook, Board Game Geek, or the Alter Ego Game site. That's all I have for this time, guys. Until we meet again, have fun out there.